Some people like geeks and freaks love that dramatic effect. Just makes everything so much better. So I was in Walmart today, and very excited for the new Superman movie coming out. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about it. Some are not excited at all. Some, like me, are very excited for it for a lot of reasons. But I was like, when are they going to start putting stuff out? Normally these toys come out way in advance. Well, movie comes out July 11th. Today is June 1st, and we're barely a month away, and the toys are starting to release. I typically see toys coming out a few months more than that, way before people get excited. But from what I understand, they are not releasing a ton of stuff. Or they weren't even releasing a lot of the previews until I think it was either the end of May or middle of May or maybe the beginning of June, maybe in the middle of June. So I've been kind of holding things back, which I don't quite get. But whatever their strategy is, that's up to them. So I'm walking through the store, and I saw some of the Superman stuff. I'm excited, and I saw this. I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. The first thing that drew my attention to it is obviously it's Superman. It's obviously from the new movie. We are dealing with the Fortress of Solitude battle set. El cofre combat or conjunto de batalla. So there you go. You got it in French and Spanish. So clearly it's being marketed to more than just the American public. But anyway, it's actually pretty cool. But the first thing I noticed when I saw this was like, oh, that looks kind of a Wampa from Hoth. Now this is, I didn't realize this is a Walmart only exclusive set. And I'll tell you why I liked it. I looked at it, I said, all right, that's pretty cool. The figures, first of all, they're just about 3 inches. They might be a little bit small. They could be about 2 3/4. I just tested a vintage Kenner Star Wars Stormtrooper against it. It was almost up to here, so it's pretty small. It's got Crypto. It's got one of the robots from the movie that's in the fortress, and I'm not sure who this is. I'm not really into the comics too much, but I thought this was pretty badass. All right, so let's talk about this a little bit. What I noticed, the one in the store, somebody started to like open it here. They started to pull the side, and the arm was off. And this is kind of what caught my attention. So what I noticed is when you pull the parts apart, okay, the joints on this creature are actually, they're full of blood. Notice they're red. Well, they're red. You can pull them apart, and they look like they're blood here. This is interesting. As it gets colder, I guess it turns red, and as it gets warmer, the red goes away. But you've kind of got this clear Fortress of Solitude set. You've got some pieces down here. You've got this, I don't know, he looks like a Wampa to me that attacks. But here's what I thought was pretty cool. They have this piece up top that you put on top of the fortress. You can hook the Superman figure to it and hook Crypto to it. And it literally flies around the Fortress of Solitude. I'm like, that's cool. Back in the day when you had toys like this and play sets and so on that actually made sense, Star Wars play sets and G.I. Joe and Big Jim and all them and more, you used your imagination to make these things happen. And of course, if you had Superman, he's either punching somebody out or he's flying around, right? It's basically what he was doing. But let's take a look at what really happens here. So we have this set that you put together. Looks like we've got we've got about 6, 7 pieces, 8 pieces put together. Pretty easy. Then we get this piece that goes across here, and then we can either hook Crypto through the bottom. He actually has a little hole underneath him here on his stomach to hold him. And then you could hook Superman. They've got a clip for him here to the side of his body. And then I guess these are, I don't know if these are stickers you're putting on, probably. And you've got this creature here that pulls apart. And I said, wow, that's pretty interesting that they actually made it so it looks like it's got blood coming out of it when you rip it apart, which in this day and age with all of the people crying about things in the world that just trigger them, I'm really happy to see that somebody actually had the balls to step up and say, well, look, if we're going to rip its arm off, let's make it red so at least it looks like blood, or put some blood on, even if it's not really blood, right? I don't know if kids are going to be getting this. I don't know if adults are going to be collecting these. But I thought this was cool, and I figured if nothing else, at some point, somebody would probably piss and moan enough that it had blood, that the joints were red, if parents are smart enough to pick up. Although they may not. They may just think the plastic was molded in that color for no particular reason. And if they do start pissing and moaning, then they're going to want to try and take that off the market, probably because it shows blood. But I'm not really going to open it now at this point, but the figures are cool. What I did see in the store, they also had a figure pack. It was Superman. It did have this robot. I forget this is called. This is DC something. I forgot what he was called. And then there was an engineer, and there was one more figure. I forgot who it was, but it didn't come with Crypto. So apparently some of these figures are exclusive. I'm guessing the Crypto dog and maybe the Superman. I don't know, or this is exclusive. Can't really tell you. But it's pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool set. I actually like it. They just don't do play sets like this anymore. And you've got plenty of people out there who, you know, in some communities, nobody wants play sets anymore. I think play sets are great. You give some figures a diorama, you give it some depth, you give it some extra character, and so on. And there's a lot of fun to be had with it. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like you probably have to put the stickers on down there. You guys can't see it. So put a little light on. There we go. Yeah, I guess you have to put the stickers on, so they must be in the box somewhere. I think what I'm going to wind up doing is buying another one and getting stickers for it. The cost, you may want to know. So the cost on this was, I think it was $29.99. It's not cheap. However, in today's action figure market world, when you're paying $20 for a NECA little Halloween figure or $39.99 for a larger NECA figure, I think that's not too bad. It is Spinmaster. I would probably say that their toys are quite durable. They seem to be able to take a licking and keep on ticking, if you will, and some battle for there. So I thought that was a pretty cool set. So I don't know if you're interested in the new Superman movie. I've had some people say, it's going to stink. The dog is not the kind of dog that was in the comics. You know, here's my opinion on it, whether you like it or not, and you don't have to listen, but you have a movie. And yes, they follow the comic book sometimes to a T and usually not. I think you need to give the director some creative space to do what they want to do, to try and present something. Because if all they're going to do is reproduce the comic book, then you don't need to go see the movie. You can just read the freaking comic book, right? I guess it's action, it's more animated or so on. However, at the same time, I do like the idea when I was looking at Crypto in the comic that he looks more like a white retriever. Or a white lab, like a white Labrador retriever, as opposed to this dog, which somebody told me it looks more like James Gunn's personal dog. So, okay, so what? It is what it is. It's first movie, isn't it? They're going to actually put Crypto in as super dog, and I think it'll be actually pretty cool. So it's a neat little thing you put together here. I like it. It'll be going somewhere on the shelf if we can find room. I'll probably have to get this up in the Hall of Heroes, where all the DC, most of the DC and Marvel stuff is. We do have a ton of Batman stuff down here that I've not been able to find room for, and so on. And we did put a neat little addition on the Hall of Heroes today, and I'll post that update a little bit here. In a little while, I'll have that up here. But there you go. There is your Fortress of Solitude battle set. Walmart exclusive, as I see. Walmart exclusive. And I guess we'll see. I don't know. You know, when they did the Godzilla set, which is, it's over here somewhere, I have it, but the Godzilla set that breathes smoke and lights up, that was a Target-only set, and then it arrived in Walmart a month later, maybe 2 months later, so I'm not quite sure how these exclusives they really are. But it is pretty cool. It's got a nice little fortress here. Some pretty strong plastic, I would say. Nothing that looks like it's going to crack in the packaging. But it is pretty cool. It'd be pretty badass to put a little light in there. I do like they've kind of got this Superman, I guess, doorway in the back. It's got the logo on there, if you will. But you put a little light behind it, it'd be pretty badass, I think. I think they're pretty cool. And then rip your ice creature apart, if you will. But, you know, they put a lot of the details in are pretty nice. That they made these red when it comes apart as opposed to just white. You can fly the figures around. The temperature change, actually, these marks will disappear or appear. Definitely some neat stuff. So a little bit later tonight, on a side note, I'll be doing another review, just coincidentally, of this, which came in, which was a Sears set, the Space Command Center and Sound Studio. This is a unused one. I have a few others. They are used, and some of them are missing one or two pieces. But this one's brand new. So it's nice to actually see what it looks like when it came packaged in the box. Pretty cool set, but anyway, we'll do that later. If you're interested, you can come back to the channel or subscribe and you'll get a notification for alerts when it comes up and so on. All right, everybody, you have a great rest of your day. Talk to you soon. Peace.